Welcome to Plugged In Australia Quick Charge, the shorter version of the show for when you want the main EV news without the full deep dive. This is episode 62 for Tuesday, the 9th of June 2026, and it's a big catch-up edition after a week away. We've got record EV sales, Tesla Model Y making Australian history, BYD putting pressure on Toyota, Hyundai cutting EV prices, Cadillac expanding its electric SUV lineup, FSD supervised version 14 getting closer for Tesla owners, and some important movement on utes, V2G and charging infrastructure. Without further ado, let's get into it. And the biggest story today is the Australian new car market, because May 2026 was a record month for EVs. Battery electric vehicles hit 21,303 sales, giving EVs a record 19.9% share of the market. Plug-in hybrids also had a huge month with 9,315 sales, up more than 200% compared with the same time last year. That means more than 30,000 plug-in vehicles were sold in Australia in 1 month. It's not a niche market anymore. And the headline moment was Tesla's Model Y. The Model Y was the best-selling vehicle in Australia in May with 5,605 sales. Not the best-selling EV, the best-selling vehicle overall. It beat the Ford Ranger, Toyota Hilux and Toyota RAV4. That's a major milestone for the Australian market. For years, EVs have been treated as a side category. Now an EV has topped the entire chart. Tesla also had a very strong month as a brand with more than 6,400 deliveries, putting it 6th overall. The updated Model Y is clearly landing well with Australian buyers, and the timing could not be better for Tesla. The other Tesla story is FSD supervised version 14. Tesla Australia says the software is in the final stages of local development and testing for hardware for vehicles, including the current Model Y. There is still no confirmed Australian launch date, and it is important to remember that this is still supervised with driver assistance. The driver remains responsible. However, version 14 is a major software update, and it keeps Tesla's software story front and centre. And BYD also had a massive week. Its vehicle carrier, the BYD Zhangjiao, arrived in Melbourne with almost 5,000 vehicles on board, including the Shark 6, the Atto 1, Atto 2 and Sea Lion 7 stock. BYD is now talking openly about fuel prices and fuel security, arguing that EVs and plug-in hybrids can reduce Australia's exposure to global oil shocks. That is a message that makes sense here because fuel volatility hits families and businesses pretty hard. BYD has also become a genuine mainstream player. In the first 5 months of 2026, Toyota sold just over 76,000 vehicles, while BYD sold more than 33,000. Toyota is still clearly ahead, but BYD has more than doubled its volume compared with last year. The Atto 1 also became Australia's best-selling light car in May, outselling established petrol models like the MG3, Suzuki Swift, Toyota Yaris, Mazda 2 and the Volkswagen Polo. That matters because affordable EVs are finally arriving in meaningful numbers. Hyundai has responded to the EV price war as well. The Kona Electric and Ioniq 5 have both had major price cuts, with most variants reduced by $8,000. Kona Electric now starts from $46,000 before on roads, while the Ioniq 5 starts from $68,200. There are also driveway offers on eligible stock, but there is a catch. Some entry-level equipment has been removed. On the Kona Electric, features like the heat pump, electrochromatic mirror, emergency charging cable and interior V2L outlet have been removed from the base model. So the lower price is welcome. However, buyers need to check the spec sheet carefully. It's not always the exact same car for less money. And Cadillac is also pushing harder into Australia. The Lyric is already here, and Cadillac plans to add the smaller Optic in the third quarter of 2026 and the larger 3-row Vistic in the fourth quarter. Cadillac says it is here for the long term, which is important because Australians will naturally be sceptical after GM's history here. The Optic will start from $80,000 before on-road costs and comes with a 75 kilowatt-hour battery, all-wheel drive, 224 kilowatt and 480 newton meters of torque, and up to 425 kilometers of range. It also gets a premium interior with a huge 33-inch curved display, Google built-in, wireless phone projection, AKG audio, and luxury comfort features. But the Australian Optic misses some of the latest US upgrades, and the hotter Optic V is not coming here at this stage. The Lyric V, however, is still planned for Australia. Timing is not locked in, but this is Cadillac's quickest vehicle ever, with 459 kilowatt, 880 newton meters, and a 0 to 60 miles an hour time of 3.3 seconds. The ute market also had a pretty big week. Toyota Hilux's BEV has received a 5-star ANCAP safety rating, making it Australia's first electric ute with a 5-star result. That's important for fleets, even if the Hilux BEV's price and range mean it won't be for everyone. The GWM Canon Alpha plug-in hybrid also continues to look strong with 300 kilowatt, 750 newton meters of torque and a 37.1 kilowatt hour battery, 115 kilometers of electric-only range, and pricing from $57,490 drive away. MG's upcoming U9 electric ute is one to watch as well, with expected dual motor output of 325 kilowatt, a 102 kilowatt hour battery, 430 kilometers of WLTP range, and 3.5 ton towing. The message is clear: electrified utes are no longer a future fantasy. They are becoming a real market. And finally, we've got vehicle to grid. Arena is putting an extra $13.6 million into Amber Electric's V2G program, expanding the vehicle to grid component from 50 households to 1,000. That is a major step for real-world V2G testing in Australia. Tesla is also talking about V2G, but with a slightly different approach. Tesla appears to prefer using a factory-integrated onboard inverter rather than relying on expensive external DC bidirectional chargers. Now, that could make V2G cheaper, but Australian regulations still need to catch up. New South Wales is also seeking major fuel security projects, including heavy EV charging hubs. And that matters because electrifying cars is one thing, but electrifying trucks, fleets and commercial vehicles needs serious charging infrastructure. So the big takeaway from this quick charge is simple. Australia's EV transition just sped up again. EV sales are at record levels. Tesla has topped the whole market. BYD is becoming a mainstream force. Prices are getting sharper and the energy side of EV ownership is finally starting to get a wriggle on. And that's Plugged In Australia, episode 62, Tuesday, the 9th of June, 2026. For the full deep dive, make sure you check out the main episode. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Until the next time, stay plugged in and stay charged. Ci vediamo.